On January 23rd of 2020, Chinese government announced to quarantine the city of Wuhan in Hubei province due to the new coronavirus outbreak. Since then, the spread of coronavirus has crept into 6 continents on Earth. Taiwan, as a country, has strong economic ties with China and had its first infected case on the January 27th. The first case is a female Taiwanese who worked in Wuhan and returned back to Taiwan on January 20th. Until today, Taiwan has 42 confirmed cases and one of them died from the coronavirus. However, during the same period, the coronavirus situations in several other Asian countries has become worse. By March 4th of 2019, South Korea has nearly 5328 confirmed cases. Japan has 293 cases. Iran 2336 cases. Singapore 110. Hong Kong 100 cases. Even in Italy in Europe, now they have 2500 cases. Among them, Iran, South Korea, and Italy are the countries that their confirmed cases just exploded in the recent week. So you can even see the heat map of the Taiwan, South Korea, and Japan comparison in this tableau. The date is from January 22nd to March 3rd. The difference of how the virus spread in these 3 countries is staggering. Taiwan has a very strong economic tie with Chinese. Many Taiwanese companies have their primary manufacturing facilities located in China. According to some estimates, there are more than 1 million of Taiwanese people working in China in a long-term basis, which included my brother too. Similar to South Korea, Japan, Hong Kong, and Singapore, how could the coronavirus spread so slow when it reached to Taiwan? In the last 4 weeks, I have continuously following the spread of the coronavirus from various media that include Johns Hopkins University coronavirus COVID-19 global cases statistics. There are various U.S. media, including CNN, New York Times, Washington Post, Wall Street Journal, Bloomberg, BBC News, Al Jazeera from the Mid East, and mostly Taiwanese news sources, such as the UDN, FTV News, and CAN, and several news channels on the YouTube.com. I do not visit any news media from the mainland China, as we all know the information are not reliable at all. I found there's a big difference between the Taiwanese news coverage and other Western media. It's pretty reasonable, because the coronavirus is spreading primarily in Asia in the early weeks, and is so remote to most Westerners. Also, Taiwan experienced SARS virus during 2002 and 2003. The most severe cases is Taipei Municipal Hospital Hoping Branch, which quarantines its 930 staff and 240 patients for 2 weeks. At the end, there were totally 325 infected cases in Taiwan and 101 people died. However, I was very impressed by how much informed Taiwanese people are and how the media discuss and educate people the correct method of virus prevention and how quickly the Taiwanese government acts to make sure the maximum protection for its people. Please note that due to China's political blocking, Taiwan is excluded from the World Health Organization, WHO. Taiwan government has been protesting about the situation for lack of information sharing, which makes this island, Taiwan, vulnerable to the deadly virus. After the coronavirus outbreak in January, several countries like Japan and Germany have voiced to support Taiwan to be involved in the WHO's meeting. However, maybe this is a blessing for Taiwan. If Taiwan follows WHO's guidance about the coronavirus, Taiwan may have misjudged the severity of this virus and missed the precious timing for actions. This video is trying to summarize all the work and efforts made by the Taiwanese government, media, and people. And the most important, defense the respected Taiwanese doctors and nurses. I don't think their works and achievements should be ignored by the rest of the world, especially when the virus is still spreading like wildfire. Please note that it does not mean that Taiwanese way of defense is perfect and will continue to sustain the hard-to-detect coronavirus. But within a month, Taiwanese people has shown to the rest of the world that if the people are united together doing the right thing, the spread of coronavirus can be slowed down. When the pandemic occurs, timing is critical. The longer you can defend the invasion of the pandemic, the bigger chance that you can still hold on until the moment the potential cures or vaccine prove to be effective. If you think after watching this video, you have learned something about how to correctly protect yourself and your family, please distribute this video to your friends. The more people who are informed and act correctly and collectively against this dangerous virus, the less suffering this virus will be bringing to our family, our society, and our country. So below are how Taiwanese people did in the recent weeks after the outbreak of the coronavirus. The first thing I will show you is the government website in English. So if now you link to the Taiwanese president's website, the executive branch website, and the website of the Ministry of the Health and Welfare, you will see the information about the preventing coronavirus shown in the most visible part. Before the China government announced the Wuhan quarantine, the Taiwanese government had received intelligence about this mysterious disease and prepared for the defense on January 21st. The vice premier of the executive branch of the Taiwanese government is the chief commander for determining counteraction to block the imminent coronavirus spreading into Taiwan. He coordinated several related ministries in the executive branch right before the Chinese New Year, during which many Taiwanese people who work in China will return back for the family reunions. Also, the Minister of the Ministry of Health and Welfare, Dr. Shi Zhongchen, will be the commander of the Central Epidemic Command Center, CECC. Note that many news sources I cite in this video coming from the UDN.com, and which is the the opposition party KMT instead of the ruling party PTT. Thus, the information I cite here is not biased with a political affinity and can be seen as pretty objective. Since the Chinese New Year, the Taiwanese government has checked the inventory of the key medical parts to fight against the coronavirus, which include N95 and face mask, the total counts of the negative pressure isolation rooms in the hospital, the total counts of doctors and nurses, the total count of laboratory tests available, and the number of hospitals and clinics, etc. In the timeline of this news, made by the CNA.com.tw, you can see the summary key action timeline made by China, Hong Kong, Taiwan, South Korea, Singapore, Thailand, and the United States. And you will see some difference. On January 24th, the government announced that all N95 and the export of the face mask and the material making those masks will be suspended for a month. This policy drew strong criticism from the opposition party on failing to provide humanitarian assistance to the people in China, proved to be a right decision at the end. Based on a survey done by the ettoday.net on February 11th of 2020, more than 81% of Taiwanese people support the mask export embargo. Not just on that, the Taiwanese government went further to meet with all medical masks manufactured in Taiwan and made a contract with them on the minimum volume produced that will be shipped to the government. But how do the Taiwanese government know everybody can buy the masks they need and avoid overstocking by some people? Since Taiwan has a universal healthcare system and everybody has their own medical ID card, the Taiwanese government had a special team. They make sure everybody will need to use their medical ID card to buy 2 face masks each week. This team has IT experts designing the platform. They are connecting with the centralized medical record system and connecting with all levels of the hospitals and clinics, all drugstore and distribution channels, and the Taiwanese post office system. They are also included to guarantee the delivery of the face mask. The government also provides a website using a mobile phone, GPS, to show where you can find the drugstore nearby and their inventory level. And it proved to be very, very accurate and timely. Note that this integrated system is done only within 3 days, from the idea creation to the whole system launch. Not just that, each medical mask only costs 8 NTD new Taiwanese dollar, which is less than 20 US cents per medical mask. And later will be dropped even to 5 NTD or equivalent to around 17 US cents per mask. You may wonder how can 2 masks enough for the whole week? Yes, it's not enough. Even Taiwan is the second largest producer of the medical masks in the world. With a daily capacity of 4 million masks, it's still not enough to provide every citizen a medical mask every day. So to make up this some deficit, the government quickly smoothed out any hurdle to approve the new medical mask production and guarantee all material for making the mask are sufficient. The government also formed a contract that guaranteed the manufacturers have reasonable profit. Also, the retail price of the face mask is affordable to everybody. The newly added 30 production assembly line for face mask will be ready for production in less than 40 days, compared to a regular 6 months ramp-up time. And by March 9th of 2020, the daily production volume of a face mask will reach to 10 million masks per day. In addition, the Taiwanese government also coordinates with the production and distribution of the medical level alcohol, N95 mask, isolation gown, respirator hood, etc., all medical supplies. With so many business and personal travels between China and Taiwan, and also many coronavirus carriers just have very mild symptoms or are even asymptomatic. How did the Taiwanese government protect against this virus? On January 26, the Taiwanese government did not allow passengers from Hubei province to enter. It also has stopped all Chinese tourist visas to avoid more possible cases. Later on February 5th, the travel restriction expanded to all tourists from China, Hong Kong, and Macau. However, there are still daily flights between Taiwan and 5 major cities in China. For those tourists who visit some cities and provinces in China, the returning Taiwanese people should reveal their travel history and have a house quarantine at home for 14 days. The government will provide cell phones to those people just returned back from China to Taiwan in case their health condition deteriorates. Of course, not all of these quarantine people are good citizens and follow the new house quarantine rules. The Taiwanese government set penalty up to 33,000 US dollars if someone violates those quarantine rules. The local government officials also receive the list of a house quarantine daily and are responsible to check regularly and provide necessary food and medical delivery for those people. For a few extreme cases that people provide fake contact and address information, the government also publish their name and have local government and police to trace those missing people. Here is the news on the diplomat.com describing Taiwanese performance during this period. It says, the Central Epidemic Command Center has been holding a press conference almost every day to announce the latest policy and information on the epidemic, and to clarify rumors they are circulating on social media. The Taiwanese government also used digital tools to communicate with publics amid the virus outbreak. All the coronavirus information from the central government is updated in daily media press. The commander is the Minister of the Health and Welfare, Dr. Shi Zhongchen. With the experience of SARS in 2003, the doctors and nurses have been trained how to handle the next outbreak like this coronavirus, to avoid the virus spreading in a hospital and totally destroy the medical defense. People who visit hospital now are guided through an entrance outside the hospital. They have to insert their medical ID cards into the machine first. And thanks to the IT integration between the immigration and the medical system, if the patient has traveled to the areas that has serious coronavirus spreading, the patient will be guided through a different path to get a more thorough check. For each new confirmed case, Taiwanese government will interview with them to figure out the possible sources and identify all people the patient has contacted. They will do coronavirus tests with the patient's family members and inform all people that the patient has met and ask for house quarantine. Many confirmed cases eventually track more than 200 contacts who are asked to have house quarantine. From case 19, there are several cases that could not trace the source that are from outside of Taiwan. Due to the family members of these patients were also confirmed of the infection later. The U.S. government has listed Taiwan as a country that has entered to the stage of community spreading. At this moment, compared to the community spreading in Japan, South Korea, Italy, and Iran, the community spreading in Taiwan is still limited to several families. People around the world probably do not know the medical capacity of Taiwan is among the top of the world. Their action of fighting against the virus also come very swiftly. On February 6, after the spreading of Diamond Princess cruise ship, Taiwan Central Epidemic Command Center announced international cruise ships will be banned from calling at port of Taiwan. On January 30, the Taiwan has become the number 4 country that successfully separated the coronavirus strain, and on February 7th, another strain of coronavirus was also separated by another research institute. On February 20th, Taiwanese researchers successfully duplicated small compound of experimental antiviral drug, the remdesivir, made by the Gilead. Well, Taiwan may do well in the first quarter of the fight, but the fight against coronavirus is far from over. Coronavirus continue to spread in Italy, France, Iran, Spain, and in the U.S. And more countries like Chile and Argentina also started to confirm their first cases. One thing that Taiwan did well is defend as much as they can to buy the time for possible vaccine or effective treatment to come. There are so many Taiwanese doctors and public health experts doing the great job on TV and social media, educating Taiwanese people the correct way of preventing this disease. It also relies on the majority of the people who trust the Taiwanese government due to its open information policy, and also these Taiwanese people are willing to cooperate for the best of the society. I do not have time to show this in this short video. I hope I will have time to show how Taiwanese society is defending this disease, like a real world in the next video. Thank you for watching this video. If you are interested to know more about Taiwanese fight against the coronavirus in English, you can check out the news on the diplomat.com. As a small country being excluded from the United Nations and WHO, there are not much news coverage telling the amazing stories on how Taiwanese people do their best fighting against coronavirus. Not all methods that you see in this video work for your country, since every country has its own medical systems. However, I believe that some lessons Taiwanese learn in this virus can still be shared and copied to many other countries, and have less people suffer from this virus. If you think Taiwan should be also part of the WHO, please do distribute this video to other friends on social media and let other people know there's such a country. Thank you very much. God bless everyone.